We're going to talk about the NFC West. We've been doing our Inside Division series, and now we are in our final NFC division. That is the NFC West, home to the San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals. Man, let's start off with the team that won the NFC West the last couple years and the team that has won the NFC last year, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. They went 12-5 last year. Won the NFC West and won the NFC Championship in a shaky kind of a playoff run, man. You know, they almost lost both of them playoff games that they won. Went to Super Bowl, played a very, very, very tough game against the Kansas City Chiefs, lost in overtime to the Kansas City Chiefs. They've got Brock Purdy coming back, Deebo Samuel's back as well. You've got Nick Bosa, everybody back on there. They got a new defensive coordinator this year. And then also you got the two holdouts right now. You got Brandon Ayuk, who's holding out for a new deal, and Trent Williams, who's still under contract, but all his guaranteed money is gone, and he is trying to get some more money as well. As far as them, I think it's, business as usual for the San Francisco 49ers. I do think that eventually they will give Brandon Ayuk his money, because I don't really think that, they want to get rid of him. And we've also been hearing from a lot of top NFL sources that if the Niners had their choice of who they want to keep long-term between Deebo and Brandon Ayuk, that they would rather keep Brandon Ayuk. There's a lot of people out there who don't really look at Deebo as 100% pure wide receiver the way Brandon Ayuk is. And, he's been around camp. He reported to camp. He did not hold out. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. I do think eventually he will get his deal. And I do think eventually they'll re-alter Trent Williams' deal in some other way as well to get him his money. But the fact that matters is this. It don't matter what the 49ers do in the regular season. Are you going to win a Super Bowl? That's really what it comes down for this team. The Super Bowl bust. They've been to the Super Bowl twice in the last 5 years. They lost both times to the Kansas City Chiefs. I've been saying this for the longest time. I'm going to continue to say it. Unless you have a superstar quarterback, you're not going to be beating other superstar quarterbacks. I don't think Brock Purdy is a bad quarterback. I think Brock is a lot better than I thought he would. I think Brock is a very good quarterback. He can get you, obviously, he can get you to the Super Bowl. And I don't think Brock was the reason that they lost the Super Bowl either. But if you have a quarterback that can make plays and do the things you need to do to win because of, then I think they'd have won last year. Well, not that they won, but I think it helped. The defense obviously is part of the reason that they lost. But I think that their road to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, wouldn't have been as sketchy. They should have lost to the Detroit Lions. They should have lost maybe to the Green Bay Packers. They didn't have their usual dominant number one seed performance. I still got questions on Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan did a lot of dumbass stuff in the heat of the games, which he is known from doing ever since his days of offensive coordinator back in Atlanta. So at the end of the day, it comes down to whether or not they're going to win the championship and whether or not they're going to pay Brandon Ayuk. Those, to me, are the two main storylines for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to go to Bang next, man. Bang, what do you think about the Niners mindset or storylines heading into this new season?
The Niners is one of those teams where when you look at the success of it, you're like, okay, yeah, that's there. And you look at the amount of stars on the team, yeah, that's there. And you look at that they have been to a couple of Super Bowls, may not have won it, but they've been there. Yeah, that's fair. But then you also look at the failed experiment with Trey Lance. You look at the fact that they have other people that they need to get under contract, like Brandon Ayuk, get him squared away, and Trent Williams, who is the best left tackle in the game, and he wants to be paid like such. They're one of those teams where when you looked at the rookie wage scale and you said, we have all this talent around, you don't want to pay the quarterback like that, them and the Eagles were the two teams that was the poster child or the poster for this. But as you said, you need a superstar quarterback to beat another superstar quarterback. And I don't think that they have that. And you're about to pay that man, which means if you pay that man, you can't pay everybody because he's going to get paid. If you look at the amount of money that these quarterbacks is getting right now, you have a quarterback who just went to a Super Bowl. You're not going to pay him less than Trevor Lawrence. You're not going to pay him less than Tua, what Tua just got. And Tua just got $53 a year. I think it was $167 guaranteed. So if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you have to look at this and say that Brock Purdy is about to get the biggest raise in NFL history. And the moment he do that, the moment you're going to have to lose some people. So, I say all of that to say, this might be the first year where we look at the San Francisco 49ers and say, hey, they might not be going anywhere outside of winning the division. And I think that's where they're at right now, especially with some of the things that's happening on the horizon. They're lucky they're in the division that ain't that good.
Dante, what you think about the outlook of the Niners?
I think the outlook is the same every year for the Niners at this point. It's Super Bowl or bust. You know, as you like to say, Scott, you know, you didn't play with enough times when you're gonna go all the way. You feel me? Like at this point, you have the talent, you have the coaching staff, and you are a few missed plays away from 2 Super Bowls, you know. So it's to the point where it's Super Bowl or bust. The Brandon Ayuk, I think you got to get that situation under control. You got to give him his money. I think he is a vital part of that offense. As great as an athlete as Debo is, I think we're starting to see now, you know, with like Leggett over in South Carolina. You can find an athlete that you can use. No disrespect to Debo, because he has done some amazing things these last few years. But given the way that scheme is set up, he's more likely to be replaced than a Brandon Ayuk for everything they want to do. So I think, you know, at this point, you need to pay him, lock him in, and as you know, the division. I'm not really concerned with anybody in the division. I understand the Rams won 10 games last year. They still have an amazing head coach. But in terms of the division, I still think it's theirs to lose, and I still think in terms of the NFC, they probably are the best team in the NFC. So for me, my outlook on the Niners, it doesn't change right now. They're Super Bowl or bust.
Mikey, close us out on the Niners.
No, like you said, it's business as usual with this team. But this will probably be the last year that we see this team as configured, because they do have really big questions, and I don't know how they answer it. Like Banks said, Brock Purdy's going to make the largest pay raise in NFL history. Right now, he was on a 4-year, $3.27 million deal. Obviously, was taken later, so there's no 5th-year option with him. Based on his production, he's been more productive than Trevor Lawrence, and we saw what Trevor Lawrence got. If he plays at the same pace that he was playing at last year, you got to remember too, that Christmas weekend matchup with Purdy and Lamar, like that was a battle not only of the 2 best teams in the league, but that was a battle for the MVP. If Purdy doesn't throw those 4 picks and it goes and he throws 1 pick and he throws 3 TDs, Purdy was going to win the MVP award, not Lamar Jackson. So they're looking at possibly, everything I've been seeing is a Purdy extension would be at about $65 million a year for a total of $325 million if he has another season like he had last year. So where do you can't pay an Ayuk, you can't pay a Trent Williams, you can't pay a Debo, you know, like everybody takes a hit. So this is a year I think that they're all going to be hungry, because in sports, you know, we see it all the time with teams. You know, we're seeing it with the Warriors. Obviously, the Warriors are broken up, and, you know, like they kind of play with a little bit of extra passion, knowing that, hey, this is the last time that I'm going to be in the locker with these guys, because there will be pay cuts. Their outlook in the AFC West, man, I think they're still going to be fine. They're going to probably run into some problems with the Seahawks. I think they always play competitive games with the Seahawks, especially with Mike McDonald. You got a defensive head coach there that obviously can scheme well. The Seattle Seahawks have some players on defense. But I think it's still the Niners division. It is Super Bowl or bust for them. That is one team that we can literally say it's Super Bowl or bust for them. The Chiefs right now, they could go out there and lose in the championship game or in the second round, and nobody will really like say anything because of everything they've done before. But the Niners have consecutively got there and have just fallen short every time. So for them, it's Super Bowl or bust, because people will be gone.
Speaking quickly about what you just brought up, the Chiefs. God bless the Las Vegas Raiders on October 27th. Did y'all see his response today?
Yeah. He said we'll handle it when we handle it.
What did Byron Scott say to Michael Jordan total? 50. That's the thing is gonna be like 50. Let's move on to the team that finished second in the NFC West. That is a team that resides in Los Angeles, the SoFi Stadium. It is the Los Angeles Rams. They went 10-7 last year. Lost to the Lions in the wild card round at Ford Field, one of the one of the most hyped games of the last couple of years with Matthew Stafford returning to Detroit. Their outlook is they got Matthew Stafford back, restructured his contract. Of course, their great coach Sean McVay is back. They've got Puka Nacua year 2. Can Cooper Kupp have a bounce back year after dealing with all those injuries last year? The defense definitely takes a hit as the best defensive tackle I have seen in my entire life. Aaron Donald is retired, and he will not be on this team next year. I think a lot of people, I kind of like what you said, Dante. A lot of people are going to give the Rams the benefit of the doubt just because of how well Matthew Stafford has played since he's gotten to Los Angeles, just how great of a coach Sean McVay is, and, also just that those 2 wide receivers. Puka Nacua had a record-setting rookie year last year. Cooper Kupp still is Cooper Kupp. I think that defense takes a massive hit because just of how great Aaron Donald was, it affected the rest of the team. I don't think they're going to be as potent as years past. And I'm not buying it. I think they're going to finish lower than second. I'm going to tell y'all who I think is going to finish second in a minute. But I'm not buying the Rams stock this year. I think they'll still be able to put up points. I think offensively they'll be cool. They'll be middle of the road, and they'll be able to put up enough to be in games. Nobody's going to be blowing these cats out or nothing like that. And I don't think they'll be like 6-7. I think they'll probably still win 8 or 9 games. I don't think that's going to cut it to get one of those wild card spots in the NFC. But I think they take a massive step back just because they don't have any game records like an Aaron Donald on defense this year. And I don't think that McVay's magic is going to be enough for them this year. And I think that's going to run out for them, that their time is kind of be up as one of the top teams in the NFC. Bang, what you see from the Rams this year?
I look at a quarterback that I don't know if he really wants to be there or not. Once you start talking about retirement, it's like, okay, you're probably halfway out. They do got a running back room that I'm jealous of. Kyron Williams turned out to be a shock to some, but he was one of my fantasy picks, and I started him day 1. I was aware. Puka, he turned out to be better than advertised as well, and him and Cooper is going to be good. Defensively is the question. How do you replace Aaron Donald? That's it. I think the team is good enough to come back and still win 9-10 games offensively, but defensively, how do you replace probably the best defensive player of this generation? I don't know if you can, but I do have Jared Verse as my rookie of the year on the defensive side of the ball. I do think that he's going to have a hell of a year with that team. I just don't know if they're going to be good enough defensively to keep up. That is the question, but I do have them having the defensive player of the year, and I got money attached to it too.
Dante, marinate a little more on the Rams from what you were kind of saying not too long ago.
Yeah, bro. I think, it's one of those things where, we give people the benefit of the doubt based on what they've done in the past, which is one of those situations where I think overall the loss of Aaron Donald will be felt. You have to scheme that defense completely in a completely different way. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't one of the cornerbacks just get hurt?
Yeah, one of the corners did get hurt.
Yeah, starting cornerback, he tore his ACL. He's out for the year.
Yeah, ACL done for the year, so you got to replace him. And I know the cornerback group was one of the strengths of that team, but, losing a starter is never good. So I just think overall it's a team that you'll see, possibly at Seattle. Arizona's done a lot, but I don't know if this is the year they make a jump into competing, for the top of this division. But I think this is a team that we can see slide back to that 9-8, 8-9 type of record, and because the offense will always be competent, they'll always be able to put up points. But how do you, like you said, how do you replace a perennial All-Pro and a future Hall of Famer? So that's what I want to see. I know McVay offense is his specialty, so we'll see how him and his coaches go about trying to replace Aaron Donald.
Mikey, what's your thoughts on the Rams?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, their offense is going to be able to put up points. I have all the trust in the world in Matthew Stafford, those wide receivers, and Sean McVay being able to keep his team in it. Like Bang said, Kyron Williams is a beast. They have everything you need on offense, so they'll be able to stay in games there. But defensively, I mean, it's going to be tough. That's why I look to that Week 4. As a Bears fan, that's why I look to that Week 4 matchup with the Rams. Like, those are kind of those games that you got to have. Like, that is a big game because you're looking at a potential wild card team right there. So that could have wild card implications. But towards the back end of the season, the month of December is really tough for them, man. This is where I think they kind of falter. They got the Buffalo Bills. They're at San Francisco. They're at the Jets. Then you got 2 divisional games with the Cardinals and the Seahawks. That's really tough. you know, that's tough on a defense that we don't know about yet. And you do have a, you know, an aging quarterback. So I have them finishing third in the division. I think they'll still be able to put up points. I think they'll still be in games. I just don't know if they'll be able to have enough to pull out games with their defense compared to some of the offenses that they will be going up against. I mean, week 4, they play the Bears. We already know that this is an improved offense. And then they got Green Bay, you know, the very next week. So that's, you know, those are 2 tough games. And then they have a very early bye, week 6. So we'll see. But I got them in the, I got them in third.
Paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line. So I'm not going to hold you. Money on the other line.